Welcome, 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 everyone. This is episode 6 of the Option Menu Crew podcast. We got a great crew with us today. I'm your host, Ryan, as usual. And today we have with us Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great, glad to hear it. Ed, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good.
Thanks for joining us. And finally returning to the podcast, we got Paul with us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? It's Saturday, so it's always good.
Yes. Gonna have some fun today. The topic we're going to be discussing is something that Mike's been super excited about. We've mentioned before on previous episodes that we've been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe regularly. And Mike's a super big fan, and he's been eagerly anticipating the next Mario Kart. So we decided to do an episode speculating what kind of features and things we want in Mario Kart 9 or 10, however it's going to be numbered or titled. So whatever the next Mario Kart is. And because it was Mike's idea, he's going to lead the episode today. So Mike, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I'm really excited for a new Mario Kart. My original prediction was that they were going to release a new one by the end of this year, but obviously the current situation probably not going to happen, maybe the end of next year. So I had a few different things that I wanted to go over for the next game. The first being what characters everyone wants to see in the new Mario Kart. So I guess I'll start by going through my list, and then other people can add what they think. So first, I wanted to add Captain Toad, Pauline, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Bomb Bomb King, and Birdo for the characters in the next game.
Are any of those characters brand new?
They're all brand new from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 8 didn't have any of those characters.
Okay, I see Birdo was in Double Dash before. So that's cool. It would be a returning character there. Are any of those other characters returning characters?
They're all in Tour, I believe. But
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, as far as new characters from Mario Kart 8 to Mario Kart 9 or 10, none of them have been in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay.
I'll say I'm not that concerned about characters because I usually play as me. I feel like I like to play as myself. But I think it would be fun to do in Super Smash Bros. If you could get costumes for your me. Because I think that is kind of silly. You can basically be anything if people can make a unique costume. So I think that could be a fun feature to give people more choice as to how they play.
Well, Ed, are you aware of the amiibo costumes that you can get in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe at this point?
I'm aware, but I don't have a whole lot of amiibo. I have like 3 amiibo. I guess I could scan them. I probably should.
So what are you saying with the costume things you'd want them built into the game rather than through the amiibo unlocks?
But you know how in Super Smash Bros. People like make costumes and they upload it. Like, I don't know, Mike, don't you always you are always playing as Donald Trump or something silly, or John Wick or Reggie.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that could add a lot of fun because it's silly. But I don't know if Nintendo would be willing to go that direction for Mario Kart.
And it seems like they're backing away from Mii's in general, too. Like, it doesn't seem like they've been doing a lot of Mii stuff recently.
Which is a shame because I always liked Mii's. I thought they were fun.
Yeah.
It is cool. I do often play as my own Mii, and I use my Mega Man costume. I have the Samus costume and Sonic costume also unlocked as well, but I pretty much just play as the Mega Man one. It would be neat if there was a costume editing feature for the Mii Kart Racer in there, or more unlockable costumes inside it, other than amiibo. So that's pretty neat.
Amiibo are pretty expensive DLC for a costume. I mean, it's essentially what, like $15 for a costume? I mean, you do get a figure, but the actual software that you unlock in Mario Kart is not worth that much.
Well, when you buy the amiibo, it can function for multiple games, so that's where the value kind of adds up. It's not just for Mario Kart, unless Mario Kart was literally the only one. Then yeah, that's a pretty bad value proposition. But the amiibo usually works in about a handful of games.
Sure.
So did you guys have any new characters that you wanted to see in the Mario Kart 9 or 10?
Yeah, I could could throw my 2 cents in there, I guess. First of all, I pretty much agree with you, Mike, as far as the characters you mentioned, especially being that they are in Mario Kart Tour. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be in the next Mario Kart console game. So I totally agree with all of those. And the one thing about Mario Kart Tour is, I know I've told you guys this before, is I feel like people do complain about it and it's not perfect, but they do have a ton of characters. They have a huge character list. So one of the other things I like, in addition to what the characters you mentioned, so they have like specific characters for a certain tour or for a certain, like, based around the holidays. So they have like a Christmas version of a particular character or a Valentine's Day version of a particular character, etc. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Maybe like the way they did it for Mario Kart Tour was that they would release those characters around that holiday. I don't know. Maybe for a console game, they could do it where like maybe there's a certain achievement you get and you could unlock that particular holiday version of the character just for something different. It's not anything super exciting, but just for something different and for some extra characters. They have some kind of cool ones. So those would be two things, what Mike said, and then those holiday type characters or tour specific characters. Also, I think it would be kind of neat, and I don't know how this would work as far as licensing goes, but I think it would be cool if they had more like outside type characters, like from Super Smash Brothers. I know for like Mario Kart 8, I think in the deluxe version they have a couple. And maybe they don't because this is a Mario game. It's not a Super Smash Brothers game, but I think it would be kind of neat to include a couple other Nintendo themed characters. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. So maybe three different types of ideas for characters.
Yeah, the costume thing, I think that would be really cool, but like just as an offshoot for characters that already exist. So like you can scroll through that character and switch to a different costume. I don't think every new costume needs like a character slot like in Mario Kart Tour.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, in Mario Kart Tour, they're actually separate characters. Yeah, I like the idea of maybe like I said, it could be an achievement, and then you unlock it for that particular character. Like for example, on Mario Kart Tour, I have Holiday Cheer Daisy, which is just Daisy like dressed up in like Christmas outfit, and so that would, but she's a separate character from the actual Daisy character. So that would be cool if you got like an achievement in the next Mario Kart and you unlocked Holiday Cheer Daisy, but it's just another option for regular Daisy. Yeah, I agree with you on that. That makes sense.
For sure. And yeah, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me follow up from Paul there because I echo most of his sentiment. Including more guest characters in Mario Kart, I think, is the next step because it also opens up options for courses. Starting with Mario Kart 8, they did add as DLC, they put Link in there, they put the Inkling characters from Splatoon. Correct me if I'm wrong, did they put Villager and Isabelle or from Animal Crossing?
They're
No, you're
both
right.
in there, yeah.
So though they're already starting to set that precedent and they pick some popular ones, so it wouldn't seem out of character for them to add other characters from other things. So it'd be great to see like Fox from Star Fox, Samus from Metroid, and have those in there. They don't have Captain Falcon unfortunately as a character, but they did include 2 F-Zero courses. So, and the Blue Falcon I believe is one of the carts, or at least a Blue Falcon style cart is an option in there as well. So it definitely seems like that's where they're trending towards. So on top of basically any Mario character, I have no specific preference because I usually just mess around with a number of characters. It would be great to see more Nintendo franchises involved just to spread things out. Not to mention it could also lead to greater item variety. So I could see that definitely being there, and maybe that'll be like DLC plans on top of just a few basic characters there. The alternate costume idea I also love. I think it'd be great to see themed costumes for all the different characters. This roster is getting huge, so that could probably be a huge undertaking. It should be mentioned that I'm not sure if there's any other characters that has a costume change. Maybe Shy Guy as well. Is Shy Guy in 8 Deluxe?
Let me see.
I think so.
Because Yoshi has his 8 color variants already, but I didn't know if Shy Guy also has color variants. So it would make sense that alternate costumes
Shy
could be
Guy
coming
is
up.
in there. Nine variants.
Okay, cool. So we already have color variants, so it makes sense to have some other costumes. And there's all sorts of different costumes from different Mario games and things like that. that would make sense. Like Wario, for example, how he's got his WarioWare look with his biker gear, which would be perfect, especially since you could put him on a motorcycle in Mario Kart. Or like the strikers costumes that they had from the soccer sports, or any of the or Mario Golf costumes and the characters. There's so many other already inherent Nintendo properties where the characters have alternate costumes that they could draw from and bring those in for karting, and it'd be one more level of customization on top of the kart customization that's already there.
One thing you said that has me a little worried is you said that new characters could open up options for new items, and I don't know if I want to pollute the you know the list of Mario Kart items with ones from other franchises. Like I don't know if we need a ball and chain from Zelda or a missile from Metroid. I mean, I think we've got a pretty classic set of items, even as they add new ones. But I don't know if it's a good idea to mix up that too much.
No problem. And
Yeah,
that's we're all talking preference here, so it doesn't have to be set in stone. But yeah, your fear there makes a lot of sense. On top of it also being an option, or it could be something where maybe the items are themed based on the course, similar to how in the Hylian or in the Hyrule course and the Animal Crossing course, where the coins look different, they're rupees and that. So maybe the items just get theming based on that, but they still function exactly the same.
what if they
I
had
could get behind that.
two separate games, Nintendo Kart and Mario Kart? Is
Well,
that too?
what would you think of that, Mike?
No, I don't want that.
Yeah, I think having two kart racers wouldn't be a good idea, and I don't think Nintendo's very interested in overpopulating their genres. Even Mario, they have like they considered the 2D platforming and 3D platforming two different types of games.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to say, jumping back into the characters real quick, I can't believe you didn't mention Sonic. I figured the first character you would want to play as in like a Mario Kart game, a new character would be Sonic. I feel like that's your dream come true.
I am against Sonic in racing games where he isn't running.
Oh, okay. I
So
guess that makes sense. Yeah, I can.
yeah, like the Sonic racing games that Sega's put out, despite being apparently critically and fan praised and critically well received, I'm just not a fan of that concept in general. It just kind of defeats the purpose, and that might be a little hypocritical for me, but that's the way
Well,
I feel. And
in theory, he's probably faster than the cars, or at least as fast as the cars, right?
So what if he wasn't in the
doesn't-
cart and everyone else was in the cart?
I think there's a game like that to be made, but that's besides the point there. If they did feature Sonic in here, because I believe I read in an interview, or there were some details about in early prototypes of the Sonic games, Sonic racing games, not counting Sonic R for Sega Saturn, in which all the characters were running, was that if Sonic was running, he's a different hitbox than all the other characters, so that's why they put them all in vehicles in order to make sure all of that stuff was consistent, which makes sense from a design point. I would prefer them to just design the game in a way where all the characters have tighter hitboxes, and I think Mario Kart really does do that. Like the overall size of the characters, either in carts or on motorcycles, is pretty tight, and I don't think Sonic on foot would be too out of place in that regard.
Yeah,
I think it's just the weight that varies from characters. I don't know if Bowser has a different hitbox than Yoshi. They're
I think like
definitely a
Bowser,
different weight.
I think Bowser and DK are also easier to hit because they are wider.
Uh,
I think it does factor in.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna say like the characters that I would want, like as they alluded, like to Captain Falcon being in the game, like that makes sense because he's has his own racing game. Star Fox, there was that whole big rumor with the Star Fox racing deal, and then Kirby because they showed him in like a Super Smash trailer on his star, and I
Right.
think that would be perfect. Yeah, harkening back to Kirby's Air Ride, stuff like that.
And maybe the Star Ride or like Starboard or whatever they call it would be like another type of cart, and then you could get different types of stars that characters could race on. It just has different handling.
Yeah, for sure. That's something I was going to mention later. Yeah.
So to Paul's point, yeah, I would love Sonic in there under specific circumstances, and I'm not opposed to other third-party characters. But currently, I think it makes sense to just start with Nintendo properties, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the next question I had was characters that you want to get rid of. I said all the gold and silver characters, just make them costume swaps. Like, why do we need them to be separate characters? Like, I get that it's like an unlock thing and like, oh, look, I've got gold Mario or whatever. having them as a costume swap would be fine. Like you don't need. It's kind of the same thing as Super Smash. Like these characters just can be costumes. They don't need to be like full on characters.
Yeah, I agree.
No
I
more
don't.
Metal Mario.
As a costume swap, it's fine, but like
I totally agree. I don't really have anything else to add to characters to get rid of other than that. It's kind of the same thing we talked about regarding the new characters, as far as just, whereas in Tour those particular characters are separate. Yeah, I like your idea of just making them costume swaps. I don't think it's necessary to have Metal Mario or Gold Mario or whatever as its own character. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add about characters to get rid of. I mean, most of the characters I think are fine, but yeah.
yeah, another big one has been like the babies.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, how far are you gonna take it? Are you gonna collapse all the babies into one character? I mean, that's.
So here's
Are you saying
Yeah.
all babies are the same?
yeah, I
so
think the baby characters are kind of goofy too, but I don't know.
leading off that idea of the alternate costumes and the metal characters, I think the main point that Nintendo was going for was that those metal characters are different weight classes, and weight class is an active thing in Mario Kart, regardless how you really feel about the stats, because you can kind of take it or leave it. It really is easy to mess around with stuff and get similar results. But I think that's the main concern would be if you get rid of those metal characters, like it takes characters out of certain weight classes. Now, if we're replacing them with brand new characters, then it's not really a big loss. And I don't mind the idea of the them being just costume changes, because there is like the gold parts that you get for making certain achievements inside Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. However, let me pose this question to the group. What would you think of there being alternate costumes, but then the costumes could change the weight class? Would you like that, or would you prefer costumes to not change the weight class or have different properties when used on a character?
Bad idea.
Yeah, I think that
And
might be confusing for people unless they have like a whole like metal section or like a whole baby section where you click, they have like an icon and it's a baby crying and you click it, or like I don't know.
Maybe getting a little ahead of ourselves, but perhaps while they have slowly surfaced the stats of racing equipment in the game, you still have to pop out a menu, but it's there. Maybe that would be something for a new feature, getting a little ahead of ourselves, I know, but a new feature of them showing the characters in weight class, where you'd be able to highlight the character and see where their weight class is to help reduce that confusion.
I think costumes should not change weight class. So you're either going to have those characters as separate characters, and if you have them all collapsed into one with different costumes, they've all got to be the same weight class, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I have a quick question for you guys, kind of going off on a little tangent, because all of you have played more Mario games than me. So I know Baby Mario is from Yoshi's Island because I played that on the Super Nintendo. Are the other baby characters actually from games, or did they just create them specifically for Mario Kart? Because, like I said, Baby Mario to me made sense because he is in a game, but the other baby characters, I don't really get the point of them unless they're also from Mario games. So, could anybody enlighten me on that? I was always just confused. I'm like, what's the point of having these baby characters? They just seem like a waste of a character.
I think later Yoshi games have different babies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those do exist. The original Yoshi Island just has Mario.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that would make a little more sense then, I guess, to why they're there.
But I think they added them in what was it, Double Dash, before they even put them in the other Yoshi games. Like,
Oh, did they?
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm looking it up right now to confirm, because I know they created them for a different game. The baby Mario characters, I believe what happened was they created a port of Yoshi's Island on the Game Boy Advance, and then they added in the different babies. So they had Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Wario, I believe, and Baby Donkey Kong as all like alternate characters. So give me just a sec here to confirm that.
That sounds right.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And so the baby characters were created before this, and then they started appearing in other ones. And I think once they started the baby concept, so once Baby Mario existed, a la Yoshi's Island, then they've just kind of riffed on that going forward. Just kind of how like there's the Dr. Mario, and then it wasn't until the Dr. Mario mobile game where they did Dr. Luigi, Dr. Peach, etc. And just kind of riffed on that. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these characters debuted
That's another character that nobody asked for, Dr. Mario. You have him throwing pills. There's potential there.
Yeah, when he gets the fire flower, he throws the pills instead of fire.
Yeah, they make you hallucinate or something. I don't know. There's
Well, they
Oh, it
have
just
the babies, but they don't have like old Mario and like that. I don't know.
But well, that no, sorry for the tangent. I was just curious, but that makes sense because I
That's a
always
good
just kind
question.
of, I always just kind of wondered. I'm like, if I could play as like regular Peach or baby Peach, why would I not just play as regular Peach? Like the baby's character seemed like kind of a useless. I guess unless like we were talking about earlier, it's just an alternate version of the regular character instead of being its own character. But yeah. So
I
anyway,
think
we can
it's
move on.
also
I was
weight
just curious.
class. Weight
Oh
class, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
right.
They're
Okay.
light characters.
And just
True.
to
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just to address the question directly, I don't think there's any need to remove any characters. I'm really surprised that a lot of Mario Kart characters got removed at all and were swapped out for other types. So I have no personal feelings on removing anyone. I don't find anyone specifically bad or unnecessary. I agree with the sentiment on those metal characters or other slight variants just becoming costumes.
Did anyone have any like third-party characters that they were thinking of wanting to be in the game? Do you think that would be a good idea?
You mean other than Nintendo franchises?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't like that. I think maybe in Mario Kart like 11, maybe later, but I feel like that's too much for me to handle in this step.
Yeah, the first one that came to mind for me was Sonic because he's been in Super Smash Brothers games, but I think Ryan brought up a good point of I don't know if I'd want to see him in a vehicle when he could just run that fast on his own. So that was the first one that just came to my mind because of his involvement in the Smash Brothers games.
Banjo-Kazooie, it would make sense from like the Diddy Kong Racing perspective because Banjo technically debuted there. So Banjo-Kazooie would be interesting. You could pull basically from the Smash Brothers rosters the characters there and some of the more fun characters that have appeared that would be suiting of the Nintendo or I should say the Mario Kart aesthetic.
Yeah, I
And
don't get why Diddy Kong was missing from Mario Kart 8. Like, were they gonna make like a new Diddy Kong racing game? Was that like an idea or something?
I think it was because it was developed by Rare, and then when Rare split from Nintendo, that was kind of a weird licensing thing.
But he
And
was in the Wii version, wasn't he?
right, so I don't think they were ever planning on making another a Diddy Kong Racing because they have Mario Kart and they just decided to focus and they rolled a bunch of that stuff into Mario Kart eventually, such as having the underwater propeller cart and the hang gliding instead of planes. So I think they eventually rolled all that stuff into Mario Kart and it's a different style. And I think Diddy Kong just missing is just a weird omission, no specific agenda behind it.
I'm predicting right now that Prime 4 gets canceled and then gets rolled into Diddy Kong Racing. I think that's what Retro is really working on.
Yeah, right.
You know what would be kind of I was just thinking cool third-party characters if they could do this would be the Crash Bandicoot characters because Crash Team Racing is pretty much just like well at the time it was kind of like PlayStation's version of Mario Kart, so that would be just kind of like a cool little thing if they could add any Crash Bandicoot characters. But again, who knows what the licensing stuff is regarding that? But that just came to my mind real quick.
Or that could be like a mode or something.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are really branching out there. I guess I'm a purist because I don't want any Crash characters. I don't
You
know.
don't want any guest characters either?
Any what? Yeah, maybe Nintendo franchises, but not third party, not Crash.
I'm also not as I guess invested in Mario Kart as you guys probably are. I haven't played a ton of Mario Kart games. I'm sure, especially like I said, compared to you guys. So I guess I can see where you're coming from. Like when it comes to franchises that I am invested on, I probably wouldn't want to see that stuff. But since I'm not as heavily invested in Mario Kart, I guess those like third-party characters or random characters wouldn't bother me as much. But yeah, I could see why it would be it would be probably weird to you.
I could really take it or leave it when it comes to third-party characters in Mario Kart. I feel with the kart racing and the way they balance it, a lot of it doesn't matter with the characters. You're just kind of picking whoever you think looks the coolest or you've got a good emotional attachment to, and that's about it. Unless we, talk about features that make things a little more important based on who you're picking.
All right. So moving on from characters, I wanted to speak about like carts. Did anyone have any new ideas as far as like customization options, unique specific themes, stuff like that?
Doesn't Tor have a bunch of new features in terms of cart customization?
Yeah, they so with Tour, and feel free to jump in anytime and let me know if this is something that is already done on Mario Kart 8 and I'm just not aware of. But so on Tour, kind of similarly to the characters, they have carts that are like themed for that particular tour, or holiday, or whatever it might be. That's kind of I guess a unique feature.
I guess we could set a foundation here for people who may not be aware of what Mario Kart stats are, and speaking specifically to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So currently you can pick your racer, then you pick a cart body, which can include standard four-wheeled cart, a quad, like a four-wheeler cart, that's not necessarily just like a go-kart style. It'd be like an ATV style. You can also pick motorcycle, and I think those are the three main types, and then they each have different stats. Then you can pick a wheel set, which also affects stats, and then a hang glider, which also adjusts stats further. So those are the three main things, and those are the vehicle types we have available. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Tour, they don't have a motorcycle or an ATV, so they only have the carts, which I'm personally fine with. I never cared for the motorcycles anyway. I never played as those. So they have the carts, and I don't believe that they have any different like I don't think one cart is different, like faster or has better handling than the other. But they do have, I believe, some of them like this particular cart might increase your chances of getting a certain item, and same with the gliders. They don't have any different stats, but like this particular glider might increase your chances of getting like a red shell. This particular glider might increase your chance of getting a mushroom, etc. That's different. Like I said, both the carts and gliders, they did come out with ones that are like specific to a tour or specific to a holiday and things like that. So slight difference there. I don't know if really one is necessarily better than the other, but maybe they could use some ideas from what they did in Tour to not necessarily change anything, but maybe to kind of integrate some of that functionality.
Well, I know with Tor also they did have like they do have like stat increases based on how well you do previously in the course. Like the stats of your characters can go up, and the stats of your carts can go up.
Yeah, well, it's not. Oh, sorry, Mike, to interrupt you, but as far as I know, I don't think it's actually stats. It's like correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's points, because like obviously in Tour you're competing each level for like to get the highest score, and your character has a certain amount of points, and those points go towards the final score. So like each time you complete a race, or especially if you get in first place, you get your character points go up, and they do cap out at a certain amount. Your character points go up, your cart points go up, your glider points go up. So I don't know if they necessarily contribute to the stats, but I think they contribute to the overall points of the character, which maybe in Tour is kind of their version of stats.
Okay, yeah, I was under the impression that they like made the characters better, the carts better, but you're probably right.
They do have like, in addition to getting the points, you could also level up your character. They obviously all start at level 1, and then you can level them up 2, 3, etc. And
Okay.
that does increase. I think like your chances of getting like a special increase at a higher level. Your chances of going into like a frenzy mode increase once you're at a higher level. So I guess that is sort of related to the stats.
Yeah, you'd probably know more because I haven't played it a lot recently as much.
I don't think every games needs RPG elements or levels, or next we're gonna have a skill tree. I think Mario Kart should be simple.
I did such a purist over here. I like it. I like it.
I guess I have principles, and I stick to them. I really like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay.
And I feel like that any attempt to improve on it has to be careful, because I think if you change it too much, you run the risk of making it worse.
Yeah, I think the Mario Kart formula is pretty sound. It's just a matter of tweaking and adding things that are very complementary. So,
Yeah, I was.
so let me ask this, because with Mario Kart 8, they tweaked and they added the hover kart sections, and that just occurs on specific parts of the course. Anti-gravity is the gimmick there for certain areas. What if instead of trying to make it so anti-gravities are section, they instead just say gravity is gravity, in there, and we change it to hover carts as just a type of cart. So you're always in that hover mode, and it just changes the way traction and acceleration and speed work. Would that be an interesting cart category to anyone else?
I actually like that. I think it sounds cool, but that's me not as a purist. So Ed, you might have a different idea or a different feeling, but I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I would say I don't know. That would be different. I don't. It would be like an interesting mode to try out if you could do that, but I don't know. I don't know if I would want specific carts. So the
Well,
whole time you'd be racing in hover mode instead of
yeah,
just certain sections of the course.
yeah. So instead of your like handling changing in just those sections, it would be consistent throughout, just like any other how the go kart, four wheeler, and motorcycles are all consistently different types of
So you'd have
handling.
those weird wheels that switch
Yeah.
Yeah,
throughout
and
the.
it could be, and since it would be a consistent cart thing instead of the specific and has to affect every single type of cart, they could not look like hover wheels all the time. They could look like something different.
But isn't like a big thing about that is like you can go off of somebody else to get like a speed boost with the hover wheels.
Sure, and maybe that's a mechanic inherent to using a hover vehicle. So they're typically their acceleration and top speed are lower, but you're encouraged to bump into people to keep getting those speed boosts. So that would
Yeah,
you'd be
that's an
choosing that
interesting
play style.
idea. Yeah. If they add the DeLorean as an option, I'd play as a hover car.
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
That'd be really cool. So let me just ask specifically, Mike first, then Ed. Mike, how do you feel about there being other types of carts and when they started adding like the four wheelers and the motorcycles, or would you prefer them to go back and just focus on the go kart style?
I'm fine with them adding new styles of carts, like you said, like maybe a hover cart or something. I think it would be cool to add new carts, and I'm fine with the motorcycles. Like I don't use them, but for people who want to use them, I'm cool with it.
And to expand just a little bit before Ed answers, I was also thinking about the idea we kind of mentioned earlier, where if we had other Nintendo characters like Kirby or Samus or Fox, then they could have hover vehicles. So like the Kirby Star would be considered a hover vehicle. A Samus's ship could be a hover vehicle, and then there'd be like an R-wing as a hover vehicle on top of also Captain Falcon's Blue Falcon. Like those would be hover type vehicles and would have that unique type of handling. So that's where I
So
was
it
kind
would
of
be perfect for those ones.
yeah, so that idea
Okay,
would complement that idea as well, and that's kind of where I was getting at. So
because
Ed,
it.
oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say because at first I was kind of confused, like where you were going with that idea, but I get it more now.
Okay. And Ed, what are your thoughts about that? Would you prefer to go back to focusing on just go-karts with other aspects we maybe changed, or are you cool with like the ATV and the motorcycle and those like and having alternate vehicle types?
I mean, I don't even consider playing as a motorcycle or ATV, and it seems like it's pretty well balanced now that none of them gives you too much of an advantage. So if they could keep it balanced enough that the hover car wasn't significantly better than any others, it wouldn't bother me. If they still have the same wheels, the same glider, and the same body that I'm playing as now, I'm going to be playing those in Mario Kart 9. So. Um,
Yeah, I've
I,
become more of a fan
I
of the.
I don't
Oh,
even
sorry.
need a Mario Kart 9. I love Mario Kart 8, but
No, we need it this year.
Well, more specifically, Mike, you've said before, you really is you just want more content. So if Mario Kart 8 was still receiving new courses and characters, you probably would feel a bit better and about 8 as time goes on, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm been really surprised that they haven't added DLC, like new DLC courses to the Switch version. Like they did that before for the Wii U version, and then they all came out on Deluxe. But like, there's no reason why they couldn't keep adding courses to the game. I mean, maybe at this point it's probably too late, but I don't see why they couldn't just keep adding on. And if they did that, like I wouldn't like say they were coming out with like course pack next week or something like that, I wouldn't care about getting a new Mario Kart.
Okay, so that's kind of the core of where the discussion was coming from. And then I just want to ask, to be fair, Paul, did you have any additional thoughts about multiple vehicle types in Mario Kart?
No, I'm okay with it. I'm kind of in the same boat as Ed, where whenever I have played any Mario Kart games, I tend to just use the carts themselves. I've never cared about using a motorcycle or ATV or whatever. That's not to say I don't like them. I think it's fine to have other versions, and I do like your idea of like a hover version. But yeah, and I also agree, as long as they don't make them too different from each other as far as stats go. Like, a motorcycle is way better than a cart or whatever. So, of course you're going to pick that. I think as long as they keep them balanced, even though I don't necessarily use them, I don't see a problem with having different versions like that.
I think the three types do have like an inherent balance thing to them because I know motorcycles are way better at cornering, but they're very tricky. And then I think ATVs, which I've gravitated towards the ATV, feels a bit more balanced than the carts. I think it's just better at traction, and so it's like top speed and acceleration are a bit different than like say go-karts. And I tend to enjoy that more by augmenting the stats in different ways. So I've become more accustomed to using an ATV over the go-kart, but I wouldn't necessarily be thrown off by them either going backwards and just having carts because I have some other ideas I want to get to in the features about how you could vary it even if you went more purist in that regard.
As long as they don't change the way that my cart and my character handle, they can do whatever they want. I have that muscle memory down. I know what I'm doing, and I don't want to change that.
Yeah, moving on from carts. How about like items? Do you guys have thoughts on items, like a new item that you guys want to add to the game, or like items that you want to take away? I know this specifically impacts Mario Kart Tour because the way they do the items is a little bit different in that game with some of the things they've added.
Yeah, don't you have like character specific items? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can get character specific items, and also there's like the frenzy mode where you get like three, or if you get the same item, it like gives you like a special power up.
Yeah, so I'll speak on that a little bit since I play a lot of Tour. So yeah, each character has a specific, like an item that's unique to them, like you said. And what I kind of like about it is that some are in my opinion better than others. So it kind of makes you think about like what characters you like. Like for example, I think I don't know, like Toad's special isn't nearly as good as like Mario's special, so or Mario's unique item or whatever they call it. So that's kind of interesting, just an extra thing to think about. And then yeah, like Mike said, there's also a frenzy mode. So the way it works in Tour is each character, for whatever level you're on, or whatever course I should say, whatever course you're on, certain characters are better at that particular course. So if you have a character that's at the high, there's three different. There's 1, 2, and 3. So if you have a character that's at level 1 for that course, he only gets or he or she only gets one item box each time they pick up an item or go through an item box. Let me rephrase that. That character only gets one item each time they go through an item box. If the character's at level 2, they get 2 items. If the character's at level 3, they get 3 items each time they go through an item box. And if all 3 items are the same, they go into what's called frenzy mode, which lasts like, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or so. And you just get like so let's say you get a frenzy mode of red shells. You just get to throw unlimited red shells for those 10 seconds. And you're also invincible for those 10 seconds. So yeah, so that's how Tour works. Again, I like it. Ed, you might hate it because you're more of a purist, which I totally understand, but I think it's kind of cool. I enjoy it, because I kind of like the idea of making like certain characters. It makes you think a little bit more, like, oh, I'm going to use this character for this level because they're a little bit better. They have a chance of getting this frenzy mode, or whatever it might be. So that's me and my non-purist ideas, but you might hate it. So, but anyway, that's how it is with Tour.
Are there Grand Prix in Mario Kart Tour, or is it just single courses? Because you say that you select certain characters for certain courses, but the way we play, it ends up being random. So it's not like I can select a character anticipating that I'm going to be on a certain course. So I don't know if matching a character to a course would be the same as it is in Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah, yeah. So the way it is in Tour is that they have a cup So there's like, let's say the Daisy Cup or whatever. And then within that cup, there's 4 different courses. And then once so you know what courses you're going to be on. And then once you're done with those, you go to the next cup. Maybe it's the Wario Cup or something. And there's 4 courses within there. So you pretty much know within that particular within that particular area what you're going to be playing.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, because when we play online, a lot of times we'll pick random, or we'll each pick a course, but we don't know whose is going to be picked. So I can't pick a character knowing what course I'm going to be on. So that mechanic wouldn't really make sense.
You never pick random.
Well, you guys do.
It still ends up being effectively random because everyone gets a vote.
because they don't always pick mine. I don't always win.
Well, you're not good enough at the metagame.
Yeah.
I have a couple thoughts on items. First, I'll start off with a general question here, because there is the Mario Kart Tour option where if you can stack items and then you get special effects. So what if they changed up the system where currently you can get single items such as mushrooms, green shells, and red shells, and bananas, and then you can also pick up the triple set? What if they changed it so it was a little bit of strategy where if you hold on to your singles and keep hitting item boxes, it would stack? And so it wouldn't be like special. It's just that if you did hold on to the item and kept hitting it, you could then stack it so it would turn into from a single mushroom to a double mushroom to a triple mushroom. And then that way you are kind of rewarded for holding on to it and pacing it out. How would you guys feel about that as a feature?
That would be interesting. I wonder, like, I also miss in Double Dash where you could switch the 2 items, like, so that added a little bit more strategy. Like, but yeah, stacking sounds cool as far as, like, I don't think you should be able to stack, like, maybe like the blue shell or something like that, or like,
Yeah, that might
shouldn't be able to stack like bullet bills or something, but like mushrooms and shells and maybe even the star would be okay to stack.
Yeah, so those like basic items, I think, but adding that and maybe making that more of a mechanic for certain other items, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Then I had a few ideas for some other items. I actually looked up a list here of Mario Kart items that have been around, and so it's funny to see what has been and hasn't been. I completely forgot the fake item box got left out. But I guess when you've got like banana peels and things like that, they're just like, you don't really need to keep the fake item box for a long time.
I like the fake item box. I mean, then you really have to like determine whether it's a real one. I mean, you can even drop it by the real ones. I think that would be a good one to re-add.
I don't personally hate it, but I did think that was a funny omission. There was also a POW block used to be in the game that was in Wii version. I don't know how that worked. Maybe it was similar to the way the Mega Horn currently works. Does anyone
What is
remember?
that item actually called? Because I call it the sound box. You call it the Mega Horn. What is it called?
Oh, it's called the Super Horn. Excuse me.
Oh yeah.
Is it the Super Horn?
Yeah.
I had no idea
It's
what
Super
it was
Horn,
actually
yeah.
called. Okay, well now I know the real name.
So I did think of 2 items from the Mario universe I would be interested in bringing in that are brand new. First, the Ice Flower. We already have the Fire Flower, and maybe you get fewer shots off with the Ice Flower. And maybe it has a different effect depending on if you hit someone multiple times with it instead of like how the Fire Flower works where it's like a shell or anything else. If one item hits them, it just affects the character. They have a period of invincibility while they're recovering, and then they get going again. So maybe with the Ice Flower, you can shoot a bunch of shots, and if you hit someone multiple times, you freeze them more. Or you could have it where it just has a single effect. When it hits them, it does like 1 level of freeze. So I'd imagine it would, when it hits them, the character gets encased in a block of ice, so they can also become like an obstacle on the course for other characters. You lose a lot of momentum, but the character still slides a bit, but you can't steer anymore because you're frozen, and then that would last for 2-3 seconds or so. Any reactions to that idea?
Yeah, Ryan, you actually, it's funny you mentioned that because they do have that exact functionality in Tour, but it's a special item. So, like for example, I have like an Ice Hammer Brother. It's one of those characters that we mentioned that is a character on its own, but could probably be just a swap of another character.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, but I have an Ice Hammer Brother, and his unique item is the ice fireballs instead of just the regular fireballs, like you said. And it literally does exactly what you just mentioned. If you hit somebody with it, it freezes them for 2-3 seconds, however long it is, and then they're just kind of like a floating block of ice along the course for those couple seconds. So yeah, so maybe I mean, being that they do have it in Tour, I don't see why they couldn't add it to the next console game. So yeah, I think it's a cool special.
Oh, perfect. And since there's precedent for it in Mario Kart Tour, that increases the likelihood that it probably will be featured in whatever the next console level Mario Kart will be. The second item I thought of, and I haven't looked at the Mario Kart Tour, the list I'm looking at doesn't mention what's in Tour, so this could also be there, is perhaps a chain chomp. Now we already have the Piranha Plant that like pulls you forward and attacks enemies around you, but I was thinking with Chain Chomp, it would just kind of sit on the back of your cart for a little bit, and so it would automatically protect you from characters coming up behind you, but when it did bite, it actually kind of slowed you down. So it'd almost be like the antithesis of the Piranha Plant, where when you have this out, you're protected from items coming at you and kart racers getting close to you, but it slows you down for that, so it can kind of compensate for that being that auto protection, and maybe it lasts for like 5 attacks or a certain amount of time, or probably both is how that works. What do you guys think about that?
What if that pulled you backwards? Like what if it like attacked carts behind you like
I don't
um
I don't think it'd be very fun if it like actively pulled you backwards, but slowing you down and like taking some of your speed, I think makes more sense.
yeah, it's interesting because they've already had it, and they've had it like in the where it like goes off the front of your cart, but they've never done anything like behind your cart with a chain chomp.
I think you'd really have to balance it correctly because, it's really a trade-off. If it slows you down the whole time and it's trying to block items, who's to say that it's slowing you down more than the actual items would?
I
So I think would be challenging to balance that so it's not, you know, every
yeah,
time you get it's like, oh man, I got the chain chomp. And this you can't throw away items in this. You'd have to end up using it to get another item.
Well, that could be a feature. Throw away items that you don't want.
I guess that could be a feature, yeah.
But you just throw the black on the cart and someone else can pick it up.
yeah, and I was thinking, Ed, in terms of balancing it, it only slows you down when it attacks something. So as long as you're not like having shells or
Oh, okay.
carts
So
coming up near
it's
you,
not constant drag.
yeah, but it would be an automatic thing, like just like the Piranha Plant, how whenever you trigger it, it pulls you, but it's usually a speed boost forward, but it can like kind of jolt you one way or the other based on the direction it's attacking. So with the benefit is automatic protection, and it stops shells, both green and red, fireballs maybe as well, and kart racers who get close to you. And then only when it attacks does it actually kind of slow you down. It wouldn't like pull you backwards. It would just like reduce your acceleration.
Does it stop spiny shells?
Uh,
Lightning?
I don't. Oh no, it wouldn't stop lightning. Something
Probably
that
make lightning worse. You have a big like lightning rod on the back of your car.
lightning can technically be countered if you have a star or a ghost or a boo. So
Mhm.
there are two counters to that, though they are rare. The lightning's meant to mess with everyone who's kind of further ahead. But the blue shell being targeted by that and already having the super horn, which I think the super horn is a good item to keep going forward, as it is a hard counter to multiple things. So maybe not. Or maybe if the blue shell, it automatically deletes the chain chomp, so it could be a trade. But something that could sit on your cart for that long, nah, I think the blue shell would have to still hit you, but it wouldn't get rid of your chain chomp, so the chain chomp could stay on you and still protect you from other stuff, or maybe hit a kart racer that was coming trying to pass you after you got hit by blue shell, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, those are the two ideas that came to me at this point.
Nice. I had some ideas as well for items. One item that I had an idea for was an item that swaps you with the cart in front of you, like teleports you so that you swap like spats with them. Like not you wouldn't jump from like last place to first place, but it would just be like fifth to fourth or
That,
swap those two cards.
that could be pretty. That could be pretty dirty if you're like almost at the finish line and you save that item and you're like right behind the person and you just swap with them at the last second. That could be pretty dirty.
Yeah, it adds to the randomness, I guess.
What if it was that it swapped you? What if if it would swap like 6 and 7, 5 and or it would swap like if you were in first and last, they would swap around the middle of the race. So if you could, maybe that's too overpowered.
Maybe if it only worked in like the back half of the lot, like you could only swap with someone up to 5th place. So it's a really like desperation item. So even if you're in 12th, there's like a random chance you'd be swapped with the person who's in up to 5th place. So you can't use it to win a race necessarily, but it could definitely help you do a comeback. But I think the Bullet Bill serves that kind of purpose way better currently.
I just think it would be a fun item, like if you could just swap with the person in front of you, like just to mess with people. Not like a common item, obviously, but like one of those rare items that like you can just get to like mess with people. I know people would probably rage, but
But a
Can
lot
you
of
can you
items.
can you can you stack them and get like 4 of them and then go from like 5th to 1st?
uh, I guess I did think about that.
That would
uh,
be a non-stackable item. I
and
wouldn't
then
say.
I remember in the old game, you could put like more shells behind you. Like I think you could put like 3 shells behind you instead of like them circling around your cart. Like
Interesting.
I don't want that again. And I know Ed and I've talked about this, but like for online multiplayer, there should be an option like in Super Smash where you can like turn off all the item or turn off like specific items that you want and specific items that you don't want.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say if nobody else did. I want that customization.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Okay. Yeah, and or it could be like a battle specific item. I could see that working really well in the battle courses with flipping because positioning is still critical, but it's not the same as in racing where you literally have to be in a specific position to place. So that's a possibility as well.
How do you feel about Ryan turning items on and off? Like, do you think that would be a good feature to add, or no?
We've discussed that before, so let's start with Ed with his thoughts on item customization.
I mean,
You being the purist.
I guess I say I want it, but I don't know if I would use it all that much because I like you said, being the purist, I think it would feel bad about stripping out items that I don't like. Really, maybe I don't want the only item I really almost never like is the blooper because I don't like not being able to see where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I don't need item customization. Maybe I just want that item deleted.
And
That's not unfair.
and right now you can what do you call it? You can pick like specific like you can pick I only want mushrooms or I only want shells or I only want bananas, but you can't like select specifically what you want to turn on.
Yeah. So we're talking about like an option similar to what's in Super Smash Brothers, where you can actually choose exactly what items are appearing. So there's a precedent for that in the games. It's a matter of whether or not they would really bring that over to Mario Kart and let people mess with that.
So what's the no items Final Destination Fox only? Is it like no items Mario Rainbow Road?
200cc
Yeah,
Rainbow Road.
200cc.
No items, no coins. 200cc Rainbow Road. No, Baby Park. It's got to be Baby Park.
Oh.
That's the final destination of Mario Kart.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, moving on from the items, how about courses? Specific courses that you guys want? Specific courses you want removed? Anything like that? Ideas?
I think I'd
Toad's
like.
Turnpike.
You
Get
want
rid
that
of
at?
Toad's Turnpike.
Okay.
Banish it to the past. We never need that course anymore.
No, we need it. It's like the best course in Mario Kart.
Yeah, the Turnpike one and the Subway one. Both of those should be gone.
I find the slalom style courses where it's like a continuous track and there's just lap marks at different ones, those are really fun. I'd like to see more of those. And in a similar vein, I'd also like to see, and they kind of do this with the way some of the courses are designed, I'd like to see maybe courses where each lap there's like a couple different ways the track could change or like it swaps in a new type of track. So sometimes you maybe do the exact same turns, but then there's also like 3 other ways, and every time you cross the lap mark, the course is significantly different for that. And I'm talking maybe 2, 3 variations tops. But I think that would be a way to kind of freshen things up and keep people on their toes rather than a lot of the traditional tracks where you kind of memorize all the turns. And while Mario Kart does add the items and the way players try to interact with each other and some of the hazards can shake that up, I think actually having also different turns to a limited capacity could be a new, unique type of course to feature in the next Mario Kart.
Yeah, and it makes the game less boring too if you're going through courses that you're not doing lap after lap of the same course. It changes every lap.
Oh, and one other idea would be mixing themes, because a lot of courses are pretty much a consistent single theme. Like you've got the Mario Beach, you've got the Mario Kart thing, city, the Hyrule, or the desert. It'd be cooler to see them actually mixing up themes more. So maybe it's like part desert, part forest, or like lava and ice, things like that. Or if we're mixing in other Nintendo properties, we could have things where you could have like part Kirby, part Star Fox, or part Mario, part Kid Icarus, something like that would be, I think, very cool.
That would be awesome.
I would like you said about the types of courses, like the slalom ones are changing. I think ones that change throughout the laps, like Grumble Volcano, where certain parts are like falling apart. I think is that the only one like that changes each lap, and I think those are kind of fun, interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't really have anything else to add other than that because, yeah, I think it makes it a little more exciting than just doing the same, the same thing over and over again. I think it's cool to either do the one course with just different lap marks or having a changing course, like you said. So yeah, I think both points make sense to add a little bit of a difference.
One couple more things. I would like to see Waluigi Pinball return, and I know that one's in Mario Kart Tour, but I recall really liking that one that was on the DS, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I recall really liking that one, and I think more F-Zero courses could be fun because those ones are really fast. I mean, and I like the feeling of speed on them. So I think those ones are a lot of fun. Maybe they could even have an F-Zero Cup. It's all F-Zero courses.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right though. So Waluigi Pinball is in Tour, and it's pretty awesome. It's one of my favorites, so I think that would be a cool one to add to the console games. And maybe since it is in Tour, maybe it is one they have in mind for the next game.
I really don't have any opposition to any courses either coming back or being deleted. I kind of just try to adapt to all the different courses because I can never guarantee what's going to happen. And due to the random nature of the items, I don't think there's really a point to courses. I don't really have a preference when it comes to courses so much. Sure, some are easier to drive than others, but each one's got their own flavor, and you just gotta kind of get good
Yeah,
with that in general.
I was about to say, are you saying, Birch, that I need to get good?
Well, I'm not telling you to get good. I'm just saying, to me, it feels like there's not really much of a difference. There's not really much of an advantage to having favorites in that when you're probably going to have to do a bunch of different types of courses anyways if you're playing online, especially the way we have or going through the single player modes. But I did have an idea for a new feature as long as we're talking courses, and I wanted to pose it to the group. What would you think about there being course customizing feature? Not necessarily building your own course, but being able to take the pre-existing ones and mess with them a little bit, whether that's changing item boxes or coin layouts or some other limited sets of features. Would you like that, or do you want to keep the courses pretty much the way they are from the start?
I would want to keep the courses how they are. I mean, it would be fine for people that like that extra customization, but I don't think like Mario Kart is that type of a game. Like, maybe I'm wrong.
If there was like a kart customizer, kind of like how they have the stage builder in Smash Bros., would you try downloading and trying other people's courses, or would you rather just stick to the official Nintendo courses?
I would try it for sure, but I don't know.
Wouldn't it just end up being like Mario Maker, where every course is really just like a gimmick, or it's like ridiculously hard, and then only the really good courses that are worth playing end up being the ones made by Nintendo? I don't get the impression that most of the user ones are that much fun to play.
Well, that issue does crop up. However, you can look up online and really popular ones would start getting highlighted, or Nintendo would put in some sort of search and featuring system similar to like what they do with Mario Maker currently. You still run into that issue, but there's ways to circumnavigate it, and you only have to play the ones that you download. Like you wouldn't be forced into that. It would just be an additional feature to make the next Mario Kart stand out and give it some more longevity. It's just an
What
idea.
else could you add besides items? Like, what else could you add to the court? Like ramps and stuff like that. Is that what you're suggesting, or speed boosts? Like,
Yeah,
that,
maybe that, like speed boost, or maybe they'd let you change around some of the positioning of the hazards. It would be very limited and stage specific, so you'd only be able like, oh, you could put this chain chomp here, or you could put this fire flower, not the piranha plant here, or maybe this bridge is up or down. Very limited stuff like that, but that concept of being able to maybe tweak the tracks a little bit to make your own custom version, would you find that appealing?
I remember there was a PSP game that you could customize like the full
Odd Nation Racers,
Odd
right?
Nation,
Yeah,
right?
that was
Yeah,
on PSP and PS3.
yeah. I
No,
think most of these features are good ideas. I mean, as long as they don't interfere with the core of the game, I guess I'm not opposed to them. I don't know if they need to be there from the get-go. I think the way Smash and more recently Animal Crossing have added features over time have been good. So it could be good if it were just kind of a live service, adding new features, periodic DLC. I think that could give the game a lot of life that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe really hasn't had because it's the same game since when did it come out on the Wii U, Mike? I mean, it's pretty much the same game.
2013, I believe.
Yeah, I can understand why you were tired of it, Mike, because you had a Wii U. I did not, so this is like exciting to me, but it is starting to wear thin. So
the biggest
uh,
update to Deluxe was adding the two item holding. You can't swap them like you could in Double Dash, but you can at least hold two items and you have a second one queued up for use later. That was like the biggest update, besides like the refinements to battle mode
Mode, yeah.
and including all the DLC from Mario Kart 8 on Wii U.
yeah, I think if Nintendo really wanted to keep people engaged, it would be a good idea to keep adding even small stuff. Like I don't know if anyone's played Mario Tennis Aces, but they've added characters to that, kind of tweak things, and you know, kind of added little features to the gameplay. It doesn't have to be big stuff, but I like logging into a game and seeing something new and thinking, oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
And to me, that is if it's kind of living and changing. But I'm being the purist that I am. I hope they don't change it too much. Just enhance it. Or
And I
they
think
don't
that,
have to reinvent the wheel.
and I do want to revisit that point later about the live service, but not right now.
A few ideas I had for courses was that want to separate the section for classic courses. So maybe like more organization, I would say, like as far as that goes. And then I wanted them to make like a lot of new and unique courses for this game. So, I mean, it would still be cool to have like the classic section that you can go to, but like, I think they should focus on completely new courses to really make this game unique. Yeah, courses tied to specific themes like Kirby and Captain Falcon. So that's all I have to say about courses.
What would you prefer? What would be like your preferred ratio of new to old? Would you want like three new courses for every one classic? And you don't have to think of like a specific number. I'm just saying like a ratio. Like, do you really want
I
them
would
to kind of
say
just
like
drop out most classic and put in a bunch of new ones, or do you still want like a balance, like a 50-50?
I would say for like all the Grand Prix and stuff, they should be like new courses, but they should also have like the classic course section for like multiplayer or they could even have like a classic Grand Prix too, like
That's
with
what they
the
have now, though. The top row is new courses. The bottom row is retro courses. So they already have that. It's 1-to-1. They have 24 new courses and 24 retro courses
but
in
they don't
8
have like
Deluxe.
section. They don't have them like split off into like
But they
section.
are organized. I mean, top row is new ones, bottom row is old ones. I
Yeah,
mean,
but it doesn't tell you.
do you really want to have to dig through a bunch of menus just to find the courses you want?
No, they just need to have two menus. Like one would be like new courses and one would be old courses, and you select whichever one you want.
Mm,
No,
uh, I guess I'm just stubborn, set in my ways.
but yeah, the ratio as far as the ratio goes, maybe one to three would be a good ratio.
Yeah, it seems
That
like
either
yeah.
means they have to make a ton of new courses, a lot of old courses. That's a very high ratio of new to old.
Oh, and then in the DLC they did kind of a mix of returning and new courses. I'm looking at the menu right now, so
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think they had just old course.
yeah, Ed is correct though that the original eight, the mushroom, the fire flower, the star, and the crown are all the new stages, and then below that is Grand Prix mixing of returning stages. Then of the
Mhm.
DLC, like the Yoshi Egg has one GameCube one and then three new courses. The Animal Crossing Leaf has two returning and two new, and then the Bell has two to returning to new, and so does the Triforce to returning to new. So there's like a mix that was introduced with the DLC. So there is actually a fair amount of new courses in that.
Cool. Any other thoughts? Did anyone have any other thoughts about courses?
I don't know. No, I don't have much to say. That's why I've been pretty quiet during this. I don't really have one opinion one way or the other, I guess. So yeah.
Cool.
The more the better, in my opinion. I don't think you'd have too many courses.
I agree with that.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
joking. You don't remove any. Birch is right. I gotta get good at all the courses. It forces
Just
me to be better.
Remove Neo Bowser City.
Definitely not that one.
So our final topic here would be like features and modes. What new features and modes would you want in the game? I know we've gone over a lot of this throughout our conversation today, but is there anything else that you guys would like to add?
Well, yeah, like you said, we did touch on this already, but I do like some of the features that they have in Tour, as far as, you know, the frenzy mode, like I mentioned earlier. If you know, when you get 3 items at a time, and I like the idea that like certain characters are better, I guess, at certain courses, so they have the potential to get that frenzy more. Again, being the opposite of that in my non-purist ways, I like that kind of stuff. I think I thought that was a nice functionality. I enjoy it, but maybe you guys would not prefer it, being more fans of the old school type game. Yeah, so just off the top of my head, I know we discussed it a little bit already, but that would be the frenzy mode, and the idea of maybe having characters that have more potential of getting that frenzy in certain levels. I like, but that's just me.
Building off that idea for a second, I wanted to propose this earlier, but this is the best time to do it. When it comes to character-specific items, because I don't think that's a bad idea, and it kind of can go in 2 directions, which could either be characters have like a specific power-up, or they just get a unique item that gets added into the possibility of their random rotation when they hit item boxes. So that's the first part. Would you prefer it to be like a meter where it like fills up as you go? Maybe you have to cash in coins to use it. And so every character has a specific power up that you could use at any time as long as you have the coins. Or would you prefer it added into the item rotation?
I do. That's a tough one. I don't know. I do kind of like that idea of having like a meter. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, the meter might be more fair. I know I've been like
Yeah.
opposed to that in Super Smash, but like I think it would probably be more fair for everyone.
The ultimate power up in Mario Kart.
Well, it'd just be like a special item, like maybe for Mario, if you cash in like 5 coins, he can jump, which lets him jump shells, bombs, other hazards, and things like that. And then extrapolate that into all the other characters.
The warp pipe to warp into first place.
You love the
I
warping idea.
I like the idea of sacrificing some coins for a small advantage, like jumping. That's a reasonable one. Because coins do have some benefit, so it certainly is a trade-off to lose those coins, and especially if you have the full amount of coins.
Yeah, I agree. This way, like you have that extra, that the special that's maybe a little bit better, but you are trading something off for it, so it does make it a little bit more fair. You're not just like automatically getting this awesome item for nothing. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it'd be persistent instead of in the random, so you'd have another incentive for having coins, and that would change up push and pull. So I want to state this because I wasn't 100% sure, so I decided to look it up for sure earlier today, and so maybe you guys are already aware. I looked up exactly how coins are supposed to work, more specifically in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I'm already aware that it increases your top speed and I think also acceleration. It wasn't really clear in that, it just said speed. And you can stock up to 10 coins during a race. Also, apparently, you do get a little speed boost every time you pick up the coins or use the coin item. So it makes sense to actually keep trying to pick up coins even if you're at the max of 10. So I think that is very interesting that the coins actually do work in that regard, and so I wanted to share that information in case people weren't aware. But I also found that interesting, and so that does make a great balancing point of if characters had a special feature, or special power up or ability that they used, and they had to sacrifice coins to do it. I think that could add a fair new strategic element to Mario Kart.
Yeah, so it's good to add like those new strategic elements, especially like in Mario Tennis. I know we've mentioned that several times, but like that game added, well, the new one specifically for Switch added a lot of new features that made the game more complicated, and well, maybe not more complicated, but added an extra level of strategy to the game.
Granted, I don't think it launched with enough features to begin with, so I don't know if we want to make that the bar for Mario Kart. But I kind of do like the idea of at least giving the game some room to grow. So it doesn't have to have everything, because it is nice to see things change, and it still keeps you interested.
Well, no, I'm speaking specifically from like the strategy, like
Oh, I see.
the
Yeah,
power up mode, and I don't know what it's called exactly, but you know what I mean.
the zone shot, I think is what it's
Yeah,
called.
the
This isn't a Mario Tennis podcast, but one thing I would say is that I know that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, one of the changes from Mario Kart 8 that was that a lot of stuff was already unlocked, like the tracks and stuff were unlocked from the beginning. I would like that option, the new one. I personally don't usually play much Mario Kart single player, so I wouldn't want to have to go through the tracks to the cups to unlock the courses that I want to play in multiplayer. Some people don't feel that way. I mean, I played Smash, and I did play and unlock all the characters, but it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. I'm more of a multiplayer gamer with these things, and I would like to hop straight into that. So maybe they could just have this progression in the single player mode, but as far as multiplayer goes, except for cart parts and maybe even characters, but
costume.
yeah, maybe even costumes, but I definitely want all the cups and tracks and modes unlocked.
So I'm pretty sure in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like all the content that was DLC was automatically unlocked. And there were still some like cart parts to unlock, and that was based on coins you collect. And that persisted throughout any mode. It didn't just have to be single player. So even playing multiplayer, you could play exclusively multiplayer, and based on the coins you crossed the finish line with in each race, went into your game total, and that's what unlocked features.
But
So
only local. It doesn't work in online multiplayer, because I've played a ton of online multiplayer, and I haven't unlocked anything with coins. I'm pretty sure only in local multiplayer do those coins count for unlocking parts.
oh, that's a
So
shame.
yeah, because
I'd want to double
we
check
play
that
all the
because
we play all the time. I haven't unlocked a single thing since we
I,
started playing online.
unless maybe you already had pretty much everything unlocked. Because actually, I just unlocked the golden. I don't even know how you do it, but I unlocked the golden parachute, not the golden parachute, the golden hang glider, and I don't know what I had to do. I know the specific achievement, so I think it does, but maybe it's only certain things online. I'd want to double check that, but yeah, it definitely should, because racing online, I think, is twice as legitimate as playing local or offline.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I do have a bunch of suggestions, but I don't want to dominate this, so
Oh, I just had a couple quick ones that I wanted to go through.
go right ahead.
Okay, so we've already talked about it. Add in costume unlocks, but no paid DLC. No, thank you.
But no microtransactions. I would have DLC for like a new cassette of courses, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no microtransactions. Sorry. Add a Kirby air ride mode. I think that would be interesting.
How would that work?
Where where in the Kirby air ride game, you just rode around town like collecting items and stuff. I don't know. It could just be like a separate mode that you could just mess around with in the Mario Kart universe, and like I don't know.
So you're saying like an open world map that you could kind of just drive around in?
Yeah, just a fun separate mode, not like it wouldn't be like
That actually sounds kind of fun. I would try that.
You could
Yeah.
accomplish like different objectives in like an open world map that could just be like an amalgamation of different courses.
Yeah, it'd just be a fun little thing that they could add, and then finally make 200cc work better with the courses. Just optimize the courses better.
Or we could just get good.
It is true though that the courses weren't really designed for 200cc, so having that designed from the start, I think, would make a difference. Whether that is significant design philosophy change or some aesthetic elements such as just tracks being slightly longer or wider around areas to accommodate the additional speed.
Changes to handling, maybe. I don't know.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Must be not that easy of a problem to solve. It is the way it is in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Well, I'm sure it was more for silly fun. So they're like, yeah, people can go flying, and you can just adapt to it or not. So it's more of a
Yeah.
casual thing. They don't need to do much extra work.
And then they'll patch in later a 250cc mode.
Oh my god, not impossible. 250 mirror. No, 200 mirror. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna have 200 and then 200 mirror. Yeah, what do you think about that? Let me ask that quickly. Would you guys be down for like a mirror mode for all speeds? Because right
I
now
don't
it's
think
just
that's necessary.
you can only do mirror mode on 150, which I think mirror mode should just be a track setting. You can just choose. Do you want to play
Yeah,
this the normal or the mirror set?
why not? It's just more options to choose
Yeah, it
from.
wouldn't hurt anything to have it, but I probably wouldn't use it.
Yeah, that's what with a lot of these things, like, is they don't seem like they change the game significantly.
Yeah, so let's back up and ask a big, broader question here. And we've brought it up a few times, Ed said it. How would you feel about Mario Kart changing to more of strictly like a service thing? You just it'd be included with Mario Kart Online, or not Mario Kart Online, Nintendo Online, and it would be the part of the subscription. Maybe the online service would go up in price because of that, but it would be Mario Kart. You'd still have your single player modes, and they'd promise to deliver more content. And you'd never have to pay extra for it. You'd just be paying the subscription. So they'd be constantly delivering new characters, new courses, new costumes, new kart parts, etc. But now you'd have to be subscribed to Nintendo Online instead of paying one flat fee. How would you feel about that individually?
How
I
much
don't.
would it cost?
It'd just be built into Nintendo Online. So let's assume Nintendo Online goes from 20 a year to 25 a year.
I
For
don't
five
like it.
dollars a year, I'd be okay with that.
I don't like it because, like, what happens in 10 years when I want to play the game again, or like reminiscent about it, and just like, or nostalgic about it, and I want to get a group of friends together and play it.
Well, you'll be playing Mario Kart 11 by that time, and you'll be
Yeah,
complaining that
I
Mario
don't
Kart
I
12
don't
isn't
play
out yet.
Mario Kart 7 or Wii or DS anymore. I don't play any of the old ones anymore.
I occasionally go back and play the old ones. Like, I've gone back and played Double Dash before, and I think that I don't like the idea of not being able to like go back and play the games again. Not that I would do it a whole lot, but
Play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Well, I do agree with Mike on that. I was just playing a little devil's advocate. However, I do agree, and I think that's just needs to be a design thing. A lot of these service games aren't designed for when they stop being a service. And I think that just needs to be something that needs to be changed in the game industry overall, branching out a little bit from just the Mario Kart. But I'd love it to be like, okay, you're playing it online, you pay for it on the service, and then as long as you were subscribed for more than, let's say, like 3 months or something, then in the future, whatever time that may be, when it does go offline, Nintendo just says, yep, no longer do you have to be required. It's just there to play. You don't even have to connect online. Everything that was unlocked is there. You're just there. And for anyone who wasn't subscribed and might be new and come to the platform, then you pay like $60 and you get all the content in its completion because it's been years since it was out. I would prefer to see that happen with tons of other games, and it has the systems built in where it can function offline as necessary or through peer-to-peer connections without Nintendo servers being needed. Like there wouldn't be the matchmaking, but you could do private matches whenever you wanted. So that's a bigger issue. I think I would prefer it. That'd be my ideal way I'd want the service to go if it reaches that endpoint. But in general, yeah, I think Mario Kart being a service going forward wouldn't be a bad thing if it was promised the way I just described it.
Oh yeah, I like that idea of, well, both. I like the idea of it constantly updating, and I think like you said, I think if it's, let's say, $25 per year for the Nintendo Online, I like that idea of, I don't think that's a bad price at all. But at the same time, I would want the actual game for future when it's no longer on Nintendo servers, like Mike said. So yeah, I like your idea of what you just mentioned, is maybe, eventually they would release it, just you could have it on its own. And yeah, as far as that goes, it is similar to what they're doing with Tour right now. So with Tour, every 2 weeks they do a new update, and it's like it's a new tour basically. So you get they add a couple new courses, they add a couple new characters, a couple new carts, a couple new gliders, stuff like that. So that's one of the big things for me is that's kept me invested in the game because obviously games, especially mobile games, it's kind of easy to get bored of them. But one of the reasons why I've kept invested in it is because I know I'm playing through this one tour, and then I know by the time I'm done with that tour, a new one's going to be coming out, and there's the chance for new characters and the chance for you're going to be playing new courses and stuff like that. So I like the idea of something that keeps updating over time, personally.
I don't think that has to be a subscription though. I mean, I like so far. Granted, I haven't played it that recently though. I like what they're doing with Animal Crossing, where they're just releasing new updates and new content. But I don't know how sustainable that's going to be. Eventually, you think it would have to be like Smash, where they want more money. I just say I don't. I'm not opposed to buying DLC. I bought the last Smash character pack. I'll probably buy the new one. I haven't bought it yet, but I don't think it has to be like locked to a subscription to be a live service game. And we have proof that it does not need to be with those two games, Smash and Animal Crossing.
Or they could just do like an online mode that's like separate. Like you pay the extra $5 and you get this online mode, even if you don't have the game. Like I know they're doing for multiplayer for Halo, right? And everyone would be able to access that even if you didn't own the game. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know about Halo. Hey, this is a Nintendo podcast.
It's not a Nintendo podcast. It's a video game podcast. But this is a Nintendo episode. So there are a couple other models that you correctly pointed out, Ed, that we could follow. So there's one like Overwatch, where you pay a flat price for the game, and then they provide updates, free updates of the characters and the stages, because that's the core content of it. But then there's tons of cosmetics, but you get that through loot boxes, which sucks. And I agree with Mike in that we shouldn't bring microtransactions into that, and I think Nintendo is pretty good about keeping that out as well. And I think that's due to also partially their family-friendly focus and not wanting kids to be able to spend tons of money on their parents' credit cards. So I don't think we have to worry about that. It could just be straight up DLC, and I think that'd be great for them to just continue to release content packs, basically like what they did on the Wii U. So that would probably be the most realistic middle ground, which would be similar. I was also going to bring up Destiny, where you bought the game and then they sell their expansions. So it'd be nice to have big expansion blocks, and they could do like their season passes, which include carts and courses and cart parts. Well, I'd hope cart parts would be free, but costumes and characters and stuff could all be part of a giant season pass, and you pay like $30, and that's like 6 months of content.
I do think your idea of having it, $5 more for Smash Online is not a terrible one. As long as there's a buy-in eventually, I could see that be. But if people are subscribing, well, they would never do that. They're not going to make enough money that way.
Yeah, they would.
Know everyone.
Oh, they absolutely would. Mario Kart is that kind of game.
But really, they're going to want more than $5 a year out of you for a Mario Kart game. And Mario Kart games are the highest selling games on these platforms. I don't think the financials work out for them like that.
But that's $5 million more a year, or $5 more a year from millions of people every year that they keep Nintendo Online. And that might be more than just the 60 or the 40 to 60 when it's briefly on sale that they'd get from a person purchasing it once. So there's a recurring thing that would work out long term. And we've seen that subscription services tend to be more profitable, or else we wouldn't see more subscription services out there.
I also am not opposed to cosmetic microtransactions because I don't care about cosmetics.
I'm okay with it as long as it's one-to-one purchase.
As long as I can play as my Mii, I'm good.
Yeah, as long as it's a one-to-one purchase, like how they sell the Miis on Smash Brothers Ultimate, where you're getting that costume, you pay the couple dollars for that, and that's exactly what you get.
Agreed. No loot boxes.
No loot boxes. No random elements. No premium currencies. Keep that trash out of this.
I mean, Fortnite doesn't have loot boxes, and it's really profitable.
But does it have a premium currency? Because I hate that middleman stuff.
V-Bucks?
V-Bucks. I hate that. Like, just let people pay with money.
Cart dollars?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be like coins or skid marks. I don't know.
Cart coins was spelled with a K. Cart coins.
So I got a couple other ideas as well. I think we all discussed this. So we definitely would want Double Dash mode brought back.
Yes.
Yeah, I would play that.
Absolutely. It should just be a mode inside the next Mario Kart. There's no reason for it to just be a separate game. just add double dash mode in.
Then you don't have to go back to Double Dash, Mike.
For sure, yeah, I would be excited if they did added Mario Kart Double Dash mode to Mario Kart 10.
Do you say 10 or 9?
Well, we
That's a
haven't
conversation. I think
determined
it's.
what the
I
next
think
game is
it will.
going to
I
be.
think it will be Mario Kart 10. My prediction is they skip 9 and go straight to 10.
Because technically Mario Kart Tour could count as 9, and we were discussing
Yeah.
that off the podcast, so that's why we were saying this could be 9 or 10. Because they didn't number Mario Karts for a while until Mario Kart 7 on DS, I believe, or
Yeah.
3DS.
3DS.
3DS. So
S-
there's that. Straight up, another new feature I'd like in the Grand Prix mode would be a randomized like a option for randomized Grand Prix. Right now, you go through the speeds and then you pick one of the course sets, and it just goes through that 4. So why not have an option where you pick it? You could pick your speed, and then you just randomize, and it just gives you 4 courses to play through, and maybe you get alternate. It could, or maybe even it's fully random, and it's like this course is 150, this course is 50, and different rule sets and stuff like that. I think that'd be cool to add some more variety to both the single player mode and also multiplayer mode. You could have that option, so it's just a fully random set picked right off the bat instead of players voting.
That could be cool if you could see the courses that were picked before choosing your cart, because then, Paul, you could actually, choose the cart based on what courses you're going to play. So that could add an element of strategy.
Yeah, I like that idea.
What about a playlist option where you could just? I remember in the original Battlefront, they have like a playlist option where you could like select which maps you wanted to go to, but have that for online. That would be pretty sweet.
That'd be super cool. I would like that. So another idea for a feature, and this was going back to kind of the vehicles and things like that to add some new levels of strategy. Since carts, parts, and pieces already have stats, what if carts started having special properties to them? And to give you some examples, it would be like, say you pick one type of cart and it lets you carry more coins, but you have lower top speed and acceleration because you're dependent more on picking more coins. But that also allows you to cash more coins when you cross the finish line. Maybe you can use your special power more if you have that because of that. Or one that like this cart is more likely to pick up mushrooms. This cart's more likely to pick up bananas. Where the carts have special properties, and that could even go back if we went to just strictly, oh, we're just going to do go-karts, but that could still add some variety. So there's more strategy to which part you pick other than just the stats. How would you guys feel about that?
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of kind of making it more strategy and more unique. It reminds me, well, there's probably plenty of other games like this, but Ryan, for an example of something I know me and you both like, it reminds me of like in like the original Resident Evil game when you're choosing characters, like you could choose Chris, who's more stronger, he has more stamina or whatever,
Mhm.
but he also has, he doesn't get the lockpick and he doesn't have the gun, right? He's just got the knife. Whereas, or you could choose
Right.
Jill, who's not as strong, doesn't have as much stamina, but she has the lockpick, she has the gun to start off with. So it's kind of like
2 more item slots, yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like a little more strategy. It's like, oh, do you want to choose this person who has these positive attributes but also has these negative ones, or this person who has these positives but also negatives? So there's pluses and minuses about both. I like that idea too with the carts where it's like, like I like this cart because it's maybe it's faster or like you said, maybe it carries more coins or whatever it is, but it does this worse. So yeah, I think it's a cool concept to add a little bit more of a strategy element.
This needs to be a live service game if they're adding all these features, because there's no way they can get the balancing right, after people start finding ways to exploit it. I mean, they'd have to have constant updates if they have all these features and all these combinations and ways to use them, because people are going to zero in on what works the best.
I don't think that's going to be so much of an issue because of the fact that there's still the randomized item stuff on the track. I think Mario Kart's still inherently chaotic enough where balancing is more about making sure courses are properly drivable, not that other strategy elements aren't become less viable.
Yeah, my only fear with the strategic element is that it might get too complicated for like casual players, and they'll just get mad because they don't know what the heck is going on.
Maybe you
That's
could
true.
You could have a vanilla mode as well where it just turns all that off. But yeah, I guess let me ask that question too. Going around the room, is anyone in favor of actually like doing less stats, like just making cart parts like completely cosmetic, and then the driving is just completely based on the character, just like it was kind of like in Mario Kart 64?
I think I would like less stats, but I think in place of the stats, having the actual feature differences, like you just said, would be fun.
Okay.
I don't really pay that much attention to the stats, because I mean I guess I do because I know which course I like or which cards I like, and I guess I know that means I like those stats. But I don't know if I've ever like gone through and tried to like look at the stats and build the card I like. I don't like the stats as much; they don't matter to me. But all those new ideas that you said could be fun. I think that might be a more fun way to customize your cart.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm good with, or I like the idea, Ryan, you mentioned of maybe having those options, but being able to turn it off. So if you are a stat person or somebody who wants more strategy, you can do that. But then they also have, like you said, a vanilla mode where none of that matters. So you're kind of, maybe more for the casual player. You're pretty much just choosing a cart based on your preference. You think it looks cool or you like it or you have some sort of attachment to it. So if something like that is possible, I like that idea to kind of appeal to both the casual player and then or somebody who's not as concerned with stats, and then the other player who likes the stats and who enjoys maybe the more strategic element. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with stats, but I just don't know how confusing it is for like people that are just playing the game for the first time. But I'm
But
fine
do you
with it.
but do you think that casual people find like Super Smash Bros. Confusing? Are they able to play that without losing their minds? I
Um,
guess that's kind of a little more of a hardcore game.
I could answer that because I'm a casual Super Smash Brothers fan. The only time I play is when I'm with Ryan or Mike or Mark and we play together. And I could tell you it is extremely confusing for me being a casual player and being the fact that I only play when I'm hanging out with those guys. Yeah, so from my standpoint, it is pretty confusing.
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
gotta go and press buttons.
I am. I guess I'm not quite as casual player as you because I do have characters that I play as, and I do know their move sets better than others. But I mean, I haven't played it very much, and I found it reasonable. Like I don't know if all the modes were that complicated to me, but yeah, there are a lot of characters. I just haven't played them as all.
Yeah, it's
But
fun. I mean,
if you find that confusing, then yeah, I could see how the average player for Mario Kart would be overwhelmed by all the options that we're suggesting.
yeah, it's fun. Like I have a blast playing, but it is a little bit confusing. I'm terrible at it, but it is fun.
My impression of the way the casual audience can go, and this can go either way, and it's a spectrum of interest level, is that based on what the game has to offer in terms of fun factors, such as the racing with the items versus like Smash with the characters and the fighting and whatnot, that there's always going to be those elements that can be confusing because anytime you have a feature requires a learning curve. But there can be elements that people will just ignore because the other parts make up for it. And then there's the stuff that people get invested in. And I think the strategy elements create that more long-term investment for people, and those are the people that really hang on for a long time. But having a very simple core, which Mario Kart has, is where people just kind of ignore it. Like I pick my favorite character, I pick the cart and wheels that I think look the coolest, and I just go and I race. And then they have the items to compensate for that to okay, you didn't pick the best stats, but you could get great items and you could always learn to play better over time, which some people just naturally do. They don't deliberately do that. It can work that way. So I think all those elements of Mario Kart really do balance themselves out, so casual people can ignore what they want, and those people who look for more technical levels can delve into that, but can still be counterbalanced by the fact that there's like the random items.
I mean, easy mode is always on. Where when you first start, like
But
there's
yeah,
that little mode that makes it so you can't go off the edges. I remember
Yeah, the
when you
assistive
found
modes.
out that. Yeah, I remember Ed when you found out that was on. I was
I
like,
know
oh,
I
all
was
those
so
races
mad.
don't count.
Yeah, that's why I'm so far. I still beat you even with it off. Maybe it would be a little closer. We need to like erase our history of records. I don't think there's a way to do that.
Yeah, start over. I'll
Yes.
buy a new Switch.
Delete my Nintendo account. Start a new one.
Oh, or even it'd be kind of cool if maybe you could even pick an item to start with at the start of the race.
Oh,
That'd be an
idea.
idea. Or even
Isn't
that could be one of the card abilities, like, oh, when you have this, you get to start with a mushroom, or you get to start with a boo, or when you get into this place, you'll automatically get something once per race or once per lap or something like that. There could be all those weird abilities, so maybe not like a universal, but instead tie that into types of card abilities.
So one thing I want to mention, similar to what you mentioned regarding starting with an item. So going back to an option they have with Tour, is so like each time you complete a race, you get a certain amount of stars based on how many points you scored. The highest amount you can get is 5. And those stars, when you get a certain amount of stars, you get certain prizes, I guess. And but anyway, one of the prizes is that you get like an item box option. So what that enables you to do is if you can click that during a race, anytime during a race, and you'll get item box. So you don't necessarily have to pass the item box. You can only use it once per race, so you can't just build up a bunch and spam item boxes. But
Mhm.
that just reminded me of what you said, because I've done that for a couple times during a race. I've used that option right at the beginning of the race so that I could get items right away and kind of maybe get a little bit of a head start. Yeah, so I think it's a cool idea. And like I said, you can that if let's say you use it at the beginning of the race, it's only a one-time use, so you can't use it there, get ahead, and then just keep spamming it for the rest of the race to stay in first place. So yeah, that just reminded me of that. So I think it would be maybe a cool idea to have an option like that where you could potentially start with an item right away.
And
Can't
and
think of
past,
anything else. I don't know. You got something else, Mike?
oh, I was just gonna say in like other kart games, don't you have the option to like hit other players like when you're like too close to them? Like I remember in Woody Woodpecker Racing or something, you could like peek over and like hit the other guy when they're like close to you. I don't know. It's
I
funny.
like that. I like that idea. Not necessarily. I wouldn't want it to be too much of a thing. Like I wouldn't want to hit them and have them like spin out, and all of a sudden they go from being second place to last place because they spun out. But I think it would be a cool thing to maybe at least just knock them off a little bit and give yourself a little bit of an advantage if you hit them. So I think that would be a cool feature.
Then we were talking about taunts before.
Yes, yep, that's what I was getting to. I was just gonna bring that up. Go ahead.
So that would be really cool if you could, like in Super Smash, if you could just like taunt other players either after the race or just during the race. You're just like turning around and like making goofy faces or something.
Yeah, manual taunts that you can do during the race besides just the horn. That'd be really cool to have in Mario Kart.
That would be sweet. So they have, I don't know if they have this in 8, but in Tour they do have like, if you pass somebody or if you hit somebody with an item, you do a little taunt. Like like I think Peach like blows a kiss or something like that, and Mario kind of just like raises his fist or whatever. But it's not a manual thing; it's just an automatic thing when you hit somebody with an item or when you pass them. So I think making it manual instead would be even more fun. It would be kind of like a cool, little fun thing to egg on your friends or whatever.
Yeah, 8 Deluxe does have that same thing where if
Okay.
anyone gets hit by your items, whether that's shells or bananas, you don't have to be near them. Your character will react just to let you know that your item did work.
Okay. Cool.
Really? I never knew that. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, pay attention when the like if you shoot eggs or not eggs, but the shells or people hit the bananas behind you, your character's gonna go like yeah, like Mario typically does that. Or the Mii's like
Are eggs gonna be Birdo's special item?
They are in Tour. Birdo has an egg, and Yoshi also has an egg. They're basically, they're kind of like a red shell. They're like a heat. The egg is like a heat-seeking item, pretty much. So yeah, they do have eggs.
So I don't know if there's anything else, but maybe we could end on this note. And I just want to ask specifically for single player content or single player mode. And I think Mike brought up a really good point with his idea of like I guess if I'm understanding it correctly, like an open world type thing you could drive around in. Is there a specific way you'd like to improve? And I brought up the random Grand Prix thing. Is there a specific mode or way you'd want the single player modes for Mario Kart to be improved?
Yeah, as far as the whole like open world thing, I think that would be really sweet. Single player aspect to add, and even I don't know if this would be a good idea, but I know in Crash there's like a hub hub world that you can go to and drive around in to like go to the different Grand Prix or cups. So that was
And
really interesting.
there's boss battles too, where you
Boss
have to like.
battles too, yeah. So that was for its time. That was really robust, I think.
Oh, kart boss battles. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be
Like,
sweet.
we're stealing ideas from Diddy Kong Racing, but those were super cool ideas. They should bring them into Mario Kart.
I think if you're gonna do kind of like a hub open world, you could have, I don't know, maybe some semblance of a story with some little dialogue. I mean, a Crash already has that, or where it has like the mask saying stuff, and Mario games tend to have a good sense of humor to them. So I feel like they could inject a little more personality than just selecting Grand Prix. I think that could give it a nice flavor.
Yeah, we don't want the game to be like unrecognizable. Like,
Like I mean, an open world Mario Kart mode is pretty divergent from what's already there. So you're already in that territory, in my opinion.
To be fair,
Uh,
though, you're just talking about kind of like a battle mode map, but way bigger.
yeah,
So it's not too strange a concept. But we also need Paper Mario Kart. I'm done.
Going back to what Ed said about giving it some personality, I like that idea of. So Ryan and Mike know this. I played Super Mario RPG for the first time. I think it was last year because I got one with the Super Nintendo Classic, and I never had a Super Nintendo growing up. So a lot of the games I played for the first time, Super Mario RPG was one of them, and I loved like the personality of the characters in those games. Like I thought Bowser was hilarious. It to me, having never played that game, it brought like a whole new element to Bowser. Like he was kind of a good guy in that game, and he was really funny and just like he was kind of goofy and stuff. And like in when you're just playing the standard platforming games, you just know him as this evil guy who you have to beat to save the princess. But in this game, it gave him a lot more personality and a cool dynamic. So I think I like the idea of Mario games that give the characters more personality. And if I don't know if it would be possible to work that into a Mario Kart game, but if they could, I'd be all for it.
I mean, the Galaxy characters have there's a little bit of a story and character in Galaxy, and doesn't Odyssey have some characters to it? I haven't played Odyssey, but
yeah, and they bring back some old characters too, like Pauline.
like I'm not saying you have some story like Kingdom Hearts or Metal Gear Solid, but
Yeah.
But it could be like a silly setup where maybe like the Mario Kart, or like Bowser did some magic and all the courses got mixed up and everyone's got a race to put them back together the right way or something like that. Something silly, something fun.
Mario
yeah,
Kart.
that would compel me to play the single player more than it currently does.
Mario Kart Remix.
Mario Kart meets Death Stranding. You have to deliver packages in the next Mario.
That would be amazing.
That could be like objectives in the open world where you have to deliver certain items, so you got to go find them. Oh man.
I'll play that. Only if I get to have a BB.
Oh boy.
Baby Mario is my BB.
Oh my god. I gotta look up that Photoshop now. I'm sure it exists somewhere. Oh my god. Why'd you say that? They both cry too. They both cry in the games, and you gotta like soothe them. Oh my god. And I gotta give a shout out for Paul for putting a big smile on my face when he brought up Super Mario RPG. That game is still to this day one of the few games I'll like go back and replay because it's one of a kind in my opinion.
Yeah, I know it's one of your favorites, and actually, so like I mentioned, I know we're getting off topic here, but like I mentioned, I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. I did play a good amount of Super Nintendo games with friends and stuff, but a lot of the games on the Super Nintendo Classic there, I played for the first time, and I thought they held up really well. Like having played Super Mario RPG for the first time, however many years later, 20 plus years later, you might think like it's kind of dated now, but I playing it for the first time all these years later, I thought it was awesome. I thought it held up really well, and I really enjoyed playing it. I thought it was a great game, and yeah, I know it's one of your favorites. So yeah, I thought it was really fun to play.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I
definitely
played Super Metroid for the first time earlier this year, and I think you're right. That generation just has so many that are
Yes.
timeless.
Yes, I also played Super Metroid for the first time, and I loved it. It's now probably one of my favorite games of all time. The music and the gameplay was so good. It's funny because again, I know we're getting off topic, but when I play PlayStation and Super Nintendo, or I'm sorry, PlayStation and like N64 games, I feel like those almost don't hold up as well. Like the graphics, you look at them now and it's like, ugh. But the Super Nintendo and like Sega Genesis era games, playing those again now, I'm like, man, these are still really good. Like the graphics are very colorful and the gameplay is fun. The music's good. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I thought Super Metroid was amazing.
There's a good
Yeah, I
number
mean
of
this is a good conversation for another podcast. Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We
yeah,
could go on for another 3 hours.
yeah. There's definitely a good number of games that hold up from that era. 2D sprite work is just holds up really well visually over time, and or the early 3D graphics of that generation from PlayStation and N64 was definitely rough going forward. But there are a few gems in there as well, but for different reasons. So yeah, getting back on topic though, I think Mario Kart single player definitely could use some beefing up, and I'd welcome a new mode, maybe like a silly, lighthearted plot, even like Mario Maker's plot is simply rebuilding Peach's castle. You know, it doesn't have to be intense, but adding in some humor and some maybe a new character or two just to kind of set up this really weird reason that Mario Kart can't get out of his cart, or Mario can't get out of his cart, and then just doing that like open world thing like Mike said, or some maybe some bigger maps where you just drive around and do objectives. I definitely could get down with that.
All right, Mike, you have sold me. I really didn't think I needed another Mario Kart, but now I'm feeling like I need one like tomorrow.
Oh yeah, let's just
goal accomplished.
Race to this new Mario Kart launch date.
I still don't think it's gonna happen until next gen, but I wouldn't be sad if it did.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, is there anything else anyone wanted to discuss regarding the future of Mario Kart?
I didn't have anything else to add. I'm just excited for the new game to come out, possibly next year, I'm hoping. But there's no like indication from Nintendo or anything like that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
sure
have any indication from Nintendo about anything right now.
not much,
So.
no. But we shall see. The world will hopefully be getting back on track overall in the coming months, and things like that will become much more clear. Until then, we'll continue to enjoy our Mario Kart 8 Deluxe nights, and we got plenty of other great video games. So thanks again, everyone, for having us, for listening. Thank you, audience, for listening to us. My crew members here, I'm so happy to have everyone here, and Mike, thank you for taking us through this excellent episode.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Definitely way more excited for Mario Kart than I was coming into this podcast. So I'm glad my mind has been open to the possibilities that are there.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's been a while. I haven't been on the last couple podcasts, so I'm glad I got to join in this one. I really enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah, thank you for sure.
All right. I think we're going to call it there. We've reached the finish line. So thank you for joining us through these previous laps today. I hope you all had a great time. And this is the Option Menu crew signing off.
See you next time.